So again, I'm back with some more Valiant Thor facts. I got these photographs again on the screen so you guys can see. It's pretty much like a recap of what I've already have shown you guys in terms of the Valiant Thor story. So, you know, we're going to begin by me showing you the pictures of the two men. That's supposed to be Valiant Thor, right? Yet they got different hairlines, as you guys can see. You know, their hairlines are different. So you see that's not possible, that if his hairline goes down, turns, down, turn, and his is just straight down, you can clearly see that it's not the same guy. But of course, people who are promoting the Valiant Thor story want you to believe that this guy and this guy are the same guy, when they're not. This guy is Ernest Stranges, and this guy is Jesse Womble. That's his head, by the way, like I said before. And let's examine things real quick, okay? So, basically what I'm trying to show you guys is that you can see the wavy hair right here. This is the wavy hair, which indicates that this guy combs his hair that way, okay? As you can see, there's a straight line coming straight down this way. This guy right here, you can tell that he doesn't comb his hair like this guy, because his hair doesn't look wavy. It looks like he combs his hair from front to back. That's how it looks. You know, so if there's anyone out there that tries to say that this looks like this, that's a lie, because it doesn't. You can clearly see that this gentleman right here brushes his hair back to the back, from front to back, and this guy sideways, okay? And you guys got to remember that Ernest Stranges said that Valiant Thor has brown wavy hair. Don't forget that I showed you guys that Frank's original hair color is brown, okay, from the stuff that I showed you. Alright, now as I go to the picture, Ernest Stranges picture, I'm going to show you a variety of them so you guys can clearly see. Look, throughout the years, right, let's show you. You can see that his hair is still the same. See, he brushes it the same way. So he still brushes his hair this way, and you'll see a line going straight in this way. Okay? And this is why I tell you guys that this is the guy, the same guy without the glasses and that little mustache. That would be your Valiant Thor, okay? Anyways, as you can see, I'm just trying to show you guys examples. And then for those of you who say it's not the same ear, I already explained that to you, that as you get older, your ear changes, okay? So as you notice, when he's even older than this picture right here, you can see that his ear actually gets even longer. So let's go to the next photograph of Ernest Stranges. As you guys can see, once again, the man still combs his hair that way. That would be wavy hair, okay? And you can see the line going straight in. As you can see, he still combs his hair the same way. Same man, only older, okay? I know you can't really see the picture really clear, guys, and I apologize, but that's not me. That's actually on the screen there. Here's another photograph of Ernest Stranges, as you guys can see. Yet again, only this time without the beard, okay? Still got the same little squinky eyes, and you still see that he got that. See, he brushes his hair that way, wavy, and then you still got this right here, the hairline that goes right straight in. But of course, a lot of you out there don't believe, because it's just, you think it's pure nonsense that I'm making all this stuff up. I never said that he was this guy right here, okay, the one that you see my computer hand pointing at. But I want to show you guys something real quick. As you can see, still he's combing his hair that way, okay? I guess you guys I'm sure you guys get my point by now, okay? It's still the same guy. Now, in this particular video, I think I showed you guys already. It's on YouTube, check it out. You will see that on his right hand, he has a pinky ring. Which, what a coincidence that the Valiant Thor, with Jesse Womble's head, of course, has the pinky ring on his right side. You know, so that to me was an indication that, and I know I'm not trying to be racial or anything, but like I said, because Frank's Italian, you figure that Italians wear a lot of those pinky rings, okay? So that is how I came to that. And then, of course, when the more information that I found out, then I realized, of course, because there's no disputing that that young man whose photo I've gotten is Frank Ernest Stranges himself. Okay? So let's continue here for a second. I'm just trying to show you a point, guys, that throughout all these years, he still kept combing his hair the same way. He never changed it, okay? His hair stood the same exact way. Now, this guy right here, as you guys may all know, is Craig Campobasso. He's the one today who promotes the Valiant Thor story. And, of course, he made a movie about it. And, you know, the thing about it is, this gentleman continues to promote Valiant Thor as fact, you know, as a true story, when in fact he never even met Valiant Thor. Okay, he met Frank Ernest Stranges in 2001, and not one time has been introduced to Valiant Thor. You would think that Frank, being his friend, you know, since 2001, all the way to, of course, Frank's death in November 17 of 2008, you would think that Frank at least present him to Valiant Thor, but that was never the case. That was never the case. Now, to me, that would be a complete disrespect, you know, that you consider me a friend of yours, but yet you're not introducing me to this so-called delusion, okay? Now, this group photo, as I was telling you guys in my other videos, this group photo is a doctored group photo, okay? And I already told you guys why, okay? Because this female was in the original conference, as you guys can see, sitting the same way with legs crossed and arms crossed. So that shows you that basically that the picture has been altered by adding this female right here. And then this gentleman right here sitting the same way as he is in the other photographs. So that tells you a lot, okay? That tells you a lot. And basically that's what I'm trying to get at, showing you guys. And then, don't you guys find it a bit strange that all these pictures that August C. Roberts took, and all you keep seeing is this guy, Frank, of course, writing notes. There's only one instance when he's talking, of course. But other than that, these are the only photographs you see. Let's go down, scroll down some more. And listen, I don't care what anyone out there wants to proclaim and by saying that these two gentlemen are the same guy. Now, if someone's out there saying that these two gentlemen look the same and they are the same, they're clearly lying to you guys out there, because it's not the same guy. It's not. Okay? I clearly showed you why. You see the ears don't match. Their hairlines don't match. As you can see, his goes straight down. His is different. Now, you mean to tell me that someone on this planet has different hairlines for each side of their face? I don't think that's possible in that manner, unless he's like literally cutting himself like that and then doing this side. That doesn't look right. Sorry, guys, but it doesn't. And please don't tell me that this is maybe it was a different year, or I don't want to hear none of that stuff, because clearly they're showing you that these gentlemen are at Howard Menger's home, okay? From the same time frame. And I already showed you guys, this is Jesse Womble. August C. Roberts used a technique called, obviously, photo manipulation, photoshopping. It's something that's been used since the 1800s. He's a professional photographer. Of course, he knew about it. And again, like I try to point out to you guys, that he worked at the time with Gray Barker, one of the biggest known hoaxers of the 1950s. Okay? So that to me validated that that be August Charles Roberts, was part of this little, you know, this party against these real people that, not real people, but these so-called contactees and stuff. So they figured, why not? Let's just get the ball rolling, you know. So They went along with it, but not in the way that you guys are thinking, as you can see. All right? Once again, it just doesn't make sense that if Howard Menger had these experiences with someone called Valiant Thor, he would have mentioned his name, Valiant Thor. All right? Now, please don't go ahead and tell me that, oh, well, he said that they come, he meaning Howard Menger, that they will come as they please. You know, they will come and then they'll leave and they'll come unannounced, and some of them don't even tell you their names. Now, that doesn't make sense, of course, because, again, you know, to our knowledge on this planet, we all have names, okay? We're born with names that our parents give us. So, to think that an extraterrestrial, human looking at that, will come to Earth not having a name, whether it be Valiant Thor or not, or just some random name, they're going to tell you they got a name, okay? So, I mean, it's not like in the Bible where you say Yahweh, for instance, that says when Moses is asking, you know, if the people ask me who sent you and what is his name, and he say, I am who I am. But the name is Yahweh, right? But anyways, this is not about religion. This is about Valiant Thor. And as far as the person who keep writing to me about that I am discrediting Phil Snyder because you're saying that I'm cropping away Phil Snyder's dad who's sitting on the second row. No, I did not. I was just trying to show people that the main focus of my conversation here is Valiant Thor, okay? And I don't care that Phil Snyder's dad is sitting on the second row of the gentleman that Phil Snyder said is Valiant Thor. Again, if you paid attention to what I was telling you, okay, when Phil Snyder was asked about Frank Ernest Stranges, his only response was, yes, he knows who Frank Ernest Stranges is, but then he did not respond by saying, and by the way, you can actually catch that interview yourselves, all right? Just check YouTube and you can see. He was asked about that, and he did not deny, or he didn't even validate. So he didn't say, oh, yeah, you know, we spoke, or he didn't say, oh, that he's showing you the wrong Valiant Thor, that's not the real Valiant Thor. He didn't even say none of that stuff. So what are we to think? Those of us who are seekers of truth, what are we to think when someone's saying, when he is asked a question and he doesn't answer it by saying something like that, then clearly something's wrong, okay? Clearly something's wrong. And again, just because he's telling you that the man who's sitting in front of his dad is in front of his dad because his dad is on the second row, and the gentleman he calls Valiant Thor is on the first row, okay? That does not mean that the man is a Venusian. Because that's basically saying what Frank's saying is the same thing. The guy's sitting down at Howard Menger's home, and I could basically show you any one of those people could have been Venusians, or we could have proclaimed them to be Venusians, right? Remember, it was the 1950s. And yeah, you know, I mean, the gentleman also telling me about, oh, well, you're saying it all wrong. No, I investigated this for over 5 years, okay? Like I've already mentioned. This is not something I just started. I was trying to bring you guys to how I got to all these points, okay? How I got to these conclusions that Valiant Thor is a hoax. So that's why I kept making these videos step by step, showing you how I got to this conclusion. All right? Which, of course, as you guys can see, there's photoshopping from the two different men that are called Valiant Thor, yet they look different because, of course, the hairlines are different, the ears are different, you know. And even though that you think that on the front they look alike, as you guys think, it's not the same guy, okay? It's not the same guy. They were just trying to figure out who can match Frank's facial match. So they put this guy. They meaning August C. Roberts, of course. So that was my breakdown to you guys. And also, that's why I mentioned Howard Menger in this, because at his home, obviously, these so-called people were at his home. But yet you guys out there want to believe that that event actually took place in terms of some Venusians sitting at Howard Menger's home, jotting down, notes about what's going on there. Now, you would think, right? Because according to Frank, Valiant Thor, he absorbs stuff. So that's a big contradiction because Val Thor is the one who's writing notes. Not only that, again, just like I made mention in my other videos, guys, okay? Even if you don't believe that this guy is Frank, okay, which I showed you it is, okay, there's no disputing that photograph that I showed you guys that it is Frank, okay? Even if you don't believe it's Frank, still the story does not make sense, all right? It doesn't make sense. So you can sit there and till you're blue in the face and keep telling me that that's not Frank, and clearly I showed you that it is Frank. All right. There's no way you can dispute that, guys. This gentleman is Frank. That is Frank. It's the same gentleman that's sitting in front of, not in front, excuse me, who's sitting in Howard Menger's conference writing notes. All right. That's the same man right there. That's Frank Ernest Stranges. And this is not something I decided to just, hey, play around, let's see who matches the face, and then came up with this. No, this, you will see that this is Frank. Okay? Obviously, because he shaved. You'll see. All you got to do is look it up yourselves, and you'll see I'm not lying, guys. Okay? It's not new. So, my whole point is that it's been Frank all along, passing himself to be a Venusian. Okay, so as you guys are putting your hopes and faith in this Val Thor, who's supposed to be an angel, right? See, that's the thing. He wanted you to believe all this, because that's why he did too. He added some spiritual stuff to all this story, so you guys can accept it even more. And like I gave you guys the breakdown of why he chose March 16, I already told you why. March representing the Sacred Trinity. That's the third month, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. 16 because, of course, it's the number 7, whereas people are basically tying the number 7 to heaven. So that is my outtake of how, because if you notice, he really putting religion into this. And because then he's telling you that that Val Thor, right? Which, of course, is Frank. He's saying that he was born without a belly button. Now, if I tell you guys this, like I told you already in my videos, that you can say the same about Adam and Eve, okay? Adam was created not by our means, born of a mother. He was born out of nothing, from the dust of the ground, supposedly according to the Bible, right? So then here you got a gentleman who was more like an angel, rather, because he was not born with a belly button. He doesn't have one. So, I know people probably dispute that part right there, but how can you when it's true? Okay? Adam was not born through natural means. And then Eve the same. She was brought out his rib. Okay, if you really want to believe that. But all I'm saying is that it's funny because Frank made this gentleman right here, which of course is himself, the main character. As you see, commander of a starship, Victor 1, okay, who houses 200 people. And then he says he's the ambassador of Venus. But you guys can't pick on what's going on, right? He's trying to draw all your attention to this gentleman right here, which is himself. Okay, but you guys don't have to believe me. You can continue believing what you want. And I already told you about the Phil Snyder Valiant Thor is not real, okay? So please, I would say stop arguing with me about that because it's not real. Phil Snyder, I would say he borrowed the name from Frank Ernest Stranges. But you see how he did it, right? By saying for 58 years. So he actually changed it up a little bit so no one can, realize what he's doing. So he says 58 years this dude known as Valiant Thor. Now, think about it for a second. Frank Ernest Stranges is the guy who came out with this story, right? He met him at the Pentagon or whatever, right? If you guys want to believe that, of course. And I told you it's a hoax. Then that would mean that Frank Ernest Stranges is a government agent by using that name. Because how is it that he would use that name way years before Phil Snyder thought about it in 1995? Okay? So, for those of you who want to argue that point, I say you need to investigate before you start criticizing me about that, because, like I said, Frank Ernest Stranges is the man who came out with the name Valiant Thor. Now, we know that the Thor name originates from the Norse god, of course, which is the son of Odin, the king of the gods, okay? And, of course, Thor is the thunder god. So what I'm saying is this, guys, okay? You can do anything you want. Continue to believe it if you want. But all I'm going to say is that you guys should investigate it like I did. And you will see that you will come to the same conclusion that I have done. Okay? It's simple. These gentlemen, when they brought this to our attention, their agenda was to benefit from these stories, okay? And to gain wealth out of it. Like I said, you still see people doing lectures about Valiant Thor. It's one of the biggest names out there. They're still talking about it to this very day. Val Thor was real. Val Thor was real. Val Thor was real. No, Val Thor was not real. It was just a story of Frank making himself out to be a Venusian, only indirectly through a book. Okay? So he didn't come out saying he's Valiant Thor. Alright? So indirectly through a book, he represented himself as a Venusian. And of course, as you can see, he used all dead people in his story. So that, there's no one to confirm that story, right, guys? And then the funnier part, to me anyways, is that you guys don't even question why is it that only Frank Ernest Stranges was the man to talk about this when August C. Roberts was the photographer, right? You would think that he'd be the man talking about it alongside with Frank. Or Howard Menger, who was the host of his UFO alien conference at the time in Highbridge, 1956, right? So you would think all three of those men together, go into these lectures, doing interviews and everything. But that was not the case. Question that. Question that. And then you will see that there's something not right about that. But you will have one guy who had really no idea because he wasn't there, right? If he really wasn't the man who was sitting at Howard Menger's home, this guy right here. All right? But it's funny. He just came out with this story as a good. And remember, guys, Frank came out with more books. So that tells you that he was, he was into selling the crowd something so that he can get money, So he was into, let me write some book. Let me write a couple books. About what? About nothing. About shit that's already been talked about by other people. All he's doing is scrapping up bits and parts of other people and then merging it into his book and then giving it to you guys. And then you guys buy it out there. Okay? And that's the way of America, I guess. A lot of people, that's all they do these days. It's all about lying to people just to get ahead, right? It's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. Okay, but all I gotta say is that, again, investigate it yourselves. And you guys can clearly see. Again, as you're looking at the screen, you can see these two gentlemen are not the same. All right? Even though you see these lectures continue, these lecturers, they continue to say that Val Thor is Val Thor. Well, Val Thor is not Val Thor. Val Thor is Frank Ernest Stranges, right here. And this one is Jesse Womble. So, again, you guys can keep arguing that point with me. And I know we're going to run in circles and it's going to be pointless, okay? Because every single time you're going to see that it's the same conclusion as the conclusion I'm giving you. And that conclusion is that Valiant Thor story is a hoax. I would like to talk to Craig Campobasso, because, again, people don't ask the right questions. They don't. They don't. All they are amazed by the story, but they don't ask the right questions. So you figured, of course, how is it that the man never once was introduced to Valiant Thor, if he was real, right? How is it that Ernest Stranges never showed you guys any other photographs other than those same ones from Howard Minger's home, that group photo? That's all he kept showing, was that same photo of the 1950s. No new photos to indicate that this so-called Venusian looks the same like this. Still young looking. Haven't aged not one bit. Not one bit. But yet, that's all he did was walk around with the same photographs for years, right? And he kept showing the same shit for years. And then you guys out there believing it because you don't even question it. Oh no, you just believe that the man just entered the Pentagon because some high-ranking official decided to just pick him, okay, out of all people, him. You think that they're just going to allow a civilian to just come in just to see something that has something to do with national security? Are you guys fucking for real? All right? And it doesn't matter that the years were different. It doesn't matter that it was the 1950s, okay? And we in 2017. Still, there were restricted areas, okay? So there's no way that Frank, who was not part of the government in any way, because of course I researched it, he was supposedly like working something about cops or something like that, but nothing in terms like a secret agent or a government official. No, nothing like that. So even the fact that his father was in the military, still, that does not give him any, that doesn't mean that he gets to go in the Pentagon just because his dad was with the military. Okay? You guys just can't see past all the dumb shit that he's been saying. That doesn't make sense. All right? It's clear, guys. It's clear. And then it doesn't make sense to me because why will the guy come down to Alexandria, Virginia? Why not just straight to the Pentagon himself? But he had to be driven to the Pentagon? Are you fucking kidding me? All right? Or why not the White House? Why not land there? Oh, no, because people are going to see it, right? No, but I guess no one else saw Valiant Thor arrive but these so-called officers. 2 officers came to his aid. Now, shit, I'm still wondering who the hell called the cops in the first place, okay, to go ahead and take care of the issue that they saw a flying saucer and some guy coming out of it. See what I mean, guys? You see what I mean? There's a lot of holes in this story. So whether you believe that this gentleman is Frank or not, despite me showing you a photograph of a young Ernest Stranges, the same gentleman right here, okay, the story still doesn't make any sense. But you guys want to believe that that's exactly how it happened. The lady who was a high-ranking officer said, do as I do, come through, just open your coat like this, and you can just get in. That's a bunch of shit. It's not real. Okay? You want to believe that? Go ahead. You got that right to believe it. But I'm sitting here telling you that's not real. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. And then not only one checkpoint, he did it to the other 2 checkpoints and did the same, and then he passed. I don't think so. It's just not possible that you're going to make it not even through the first checkpoint without clearance. You're not going to be allowed to a restricted area. You don't even belong in the building. You're not a government official. You're just a civilian. So this high-ranking officer violated, okay, protocol and their job. They put in their job on the line, and almost going to military prison, right? Just to break a law, just to bring this guy in. But Frank is so important that he had to be the one chosen to go into the Pentagon to meet an alien that's not from Earth. Don't you guys get what's going on here? He was making this story about himself. That's basically what it is. Then he claimed, of course, if you watch YouTube videos, you'll see how he's talking about that his inner circle have met Valiant Thor. That's a bunch of crap. He's lying. He wants you guys to believe that they saw Valiant Thor. Valiant Thor is him. And of course they're going to back him up. They don't want to discredit their friend, you know, their brother. Because that's how it is these days, guys, you know. People are holding on to lies. Shit, they probably believe in more in their lies. More and more of it. As you guys can see, Frank supposedly was a student of psychology. So he was able to manipulate people. As you can see, every time that he started, like you see in his videos, when he started his lectures, what he does is he make people like shake hands or hug, or he makes them comfortable first before he gets into his little story. That's how he does it. It's like a little method that he does, all right? It's a suggestive method, and then he do a couple jokes here and there. Again, that's to satisfy the crowd, you know, calm them down, relax them as they're listening to him talk. Come on, guys. But then there are those of you out there that saying, oh, I'm out to get Frank Ernest Stranges, the man who passed away. Yeah, may he rest in peace, of course. May he rest in peace. But I have a right as a United States citizen to investigate certain things I want to investigate, right? Hey, whatever we want to get, it's there for us to get. Thanks be to the internet, right? But you guys going to get mad at me because I'm telling you that Valiant Thor, the story, is a hoax. I don't represent the government. I'm not no government agent. I'm not with the Illuminati or the Masons or anything like that. Okay, so basically I'm just telling you this story is a bunch of bullcrap. Simple as that. If I felt this story was real, you wouldn't be hearing me say that this story is not real. You'd be hearing me say that this story is real. All right? But when you got too much things going against this story, like for instance, like I told you, the hairlines are different, you can clearly see that something's not right. Not only that, remember guys, as I was talking about the group photographs, you can see that something's not right. But you don't want to believe me, that's fine. Again, this is not me trying to gain anything from you. I'm not here asking you for money to pay me for this information. No, of course not. Like I said, this is free. So why should you get mad at me? You shouldn't get mad at me. This is information that those of you out there need because you don't realize what's going on here. This bullshit contactee shit been happening since what? 1950s? Of course. Frank's era. Because we had Howard Menger. We had George Van Tassel, George Adamski. There was other guys too. Daniel Fry. All of a sudden, all these people are contactees and all that bullcrap, okay? It was all out to get your money, people. All right? Are there extraterrestrials in this universe? Yes, I believe they are. Are they in communication with our governments? Yes, I believe they are. Will our government reveal that to us? Perhaps not. Perhaps not, guys, okay? But maybe there'll be that day when they do decide, simply because they have no choice, to let us know that these beings exist. Just because you see stuff in the sky doesn't necessarily mean that it's an unidentified flying object. That so-called unidentified flying object can be from Earth, all right? Something we have never seen before simply because The governments don't show us what they do behind the scenes. All right? They're making these new jet fighters and, new submarines and stuff like that. It's not like they're going to tell us what they're doing with their budget, right? They're not going to tell us. But anyways, you guys can leave a comment if you like. You can like the video. You can hate the video by giving me a dislike. Fine by me. It's not something new. Again, I'm still learning about this YouTube stuff. So I'm not perfect at this yet. Eventually I'll get a little better. And I decided to dedicate this whole channel to the Valiant Thor stories because no one has looked deeply into the story as I have. That's the reason why I'm doing this, guys. That's the reason why I'm doing this. All right? I'm just trying to show you that things don't look what they seem. Things are what they seem. That's why I showed you guys the clip from The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy and her three friends, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man, when they caught the so-called Great Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, right? Here he was showing us he's this all-powerful guy. And they were afraid of him until they realized he was just a normal human being. Pretending to be someone else. So if you see what I'm talking about, I consider that as Frank Ernest Stranges being the man behind the curtain. Okay, pulling the strings on this Valiant Thor guy. So everybody's thinking, oh, well, he's a Venusian and all this and that. But the main man behind the story is Frank Ernest Stranges, who made himself a Venusian by the means of a book. That's exactly how he did it. But of course, many of you out there still going to believe in Valiant Thor because you think it's real. Go ahead. I already showed you it's not. I already told you reasons why it's not real. And this video basically is a recap of all that stuff I've been showing you. From Frank's marriages, to his criminal charges, to this photograph that, of course, these two gentlemen are different because it's a Photoshop photo where you got a head placed on a body by August C. Roberts, the photographer of those days. The big Mr. Famous photographer, as everybody put it, right? But yet a lot of people forget the fact that the man worked for Gray Barker since 1953 all the way down to 1962. You would think that something would have came up already, whether in those books, pamphlets, or whatever you want to call them. They would already came up. But you guys just want to continue believing and buying these books for no reason. Okay? I'm saving your money. I'm saving you guys money out there. Because by telling you what I'm telling you, you don't need to keep buying these stupid books about Valiant Thor when he's not even real. Another thing that doesn't make sense, of course, was that he's telling you that the dude's spaceship, the Victor 1, is on Lake Mead. But then if you go there, he said you probably won't find the spot because, of course, the wind will blow the insects away or something, right? The dead insects. Yeah, it's typical. It's typical of all that. It's just sad, man, and it gets me upset because, when you dive yourself into something like this, I mean, it takes time, of course, because you really want to make sure that everything falls into place. For me, everything falls into place. So, with that, I'm going to close here. So you guys respond if you like. And let me know how you guys feel. So put a comment down there. Or give me a like. Or give me a dislike. Whatever you want. So till then, bye.